Yes, can you hear me?
I hear you. Okay, I'm gonna get something to eat real quick.
No problem.
Yeah, for this debate, I don't have like a formal like introduction thing that I wrote. I just have some scattered notes.
You don't have to,
But
but there will be, introductions.
yeah, obviously. All right. Okay. So although it is arguing for first of all, it started already. Six. It's us. But since no one's here, I'm just gonna tell you. Since this is I know this is like a debate on objective morality and objective rights, but a lot of it's going to have to do with something called argumentation ethics, because obviously, if you want to advance from property rights, you have to have a basis, like a meta ethics
Well,
almost. Except this isn't. Except
um,
Hold up,
it's
hold
not a
up,
meta.
hold up, Marvin.
Not a meta-ethical position. It's a proof. My meta-ethical position would be deontology, but yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna type in, let everybody know it's starting now.
Right.
Doctor, we haven't talked in a while. What have you been up to?
Hold up, Marvin. Hold up, Marvin. You know how this works. We have to do this officially.
Okay.
And, okay. So, alright, the notification has been out, so we are officially starting. First of all, Dr4U, do you feel like you're ready? Like you got your food and everything?
Let me get a plate real quick, and I'll be ready in just momentarily. Sorry. Okay. Alright, I'm ready.
Alright, so I think everybody here has been in previous debate nights, but I'll just go ahead and restate it here, just so everybody knows. Today's debate topic is rights and morality. This is essentially going over, the ideas behind it and theories behind it, with Dr4U being the head speaker. So just like every other debate night, the topic will revolve around Dr4U, and Dr4U has received the head speaker role, allowing Dr4U to temporarily remove or mute or deafen any person of their choosing. And let's just go ahead and get started with introductions, starting with Dr.
Alright. Hi, I'm Dr4U. All of you here know me. I'm gonna be arguing for objective morality and why morality is objective and why rights are objective. Specifically, I'm going to be arguing specifically, I'm going to be.
Cringe ass nay baby. You're a cringe ass nay baby.
Kid, I'm gonna mute you if you don't stop.
You're a cringe ass nay baby. You're a cringe ass nay baby. You're
Okay.
Okay, so essentially, I'm arguing for property rights and why they're objective, and why the morality of the NAP is objective, based on the idea that Hans Hermann Hoppe put forth of argumentation ethics.
Alright.
We see.
So now let's go to Marvin.
Hello, I'm Marvin, and I believe that morality is subjective.
Any thoughts on rights?
They're made up, obviously.
Okay. Owl, are you back? I'm
Doesn't
gonna
look like it.
take that silence as a no. Alright, then I'll go and state my position. I am a nihilist, so I inherently believe morality is created and simply not a real thing, but rather you could call it a mythos designed by humanity to serve societal purposes. I also believe rights do the same thing. However, I believe the only true difference between morality and rights is that morality is it's like a social, it's a social right, kinda. You know, you expect everybody in society to follow certain moral principles, while rights are more individualistic. So you expect society to give you certain rights. Alright, with that being said, is there anything you would like to say, Marvin?
No.
Okay.
Um,
Any questions
Okay.
for Dr4U, Marvin?
Well, regarding to this debate, no, but I can ask the questions
Is it
after the
involving
debate. Yeah.
morality or ethics? I mean, rights?
Okay, yeah, okay. What kind of rights do you believe in?
I believe in property rights.
Hold up. John, have you ever been on a debate night before?
I think I was when Pi was arguing for socialism. Yeah, so I was here for one debate night before.
Okay, so you know the rules then.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mean to restate them, or are you good just how you are?
I'm pretty sure I remember the basic rules.
Alright, kid. I'm leaving you muted because I'm assuming you just don't want to
Oh.
talk like a normal
I'll
person.
probably just like listen to whatever Doctor says, and then if I have any commentary, I might like chime in with a question when it's time for questions. But other than that, I'm probably not going to say much.
Okay.
I am muted him, but if he does something again, I'll put him back on mute.
Alright, you're at the will of Dr4U, kid.
He's not a moderator.
No, they are not a moderator. They have speaker privilege, and that gives them the ability to kick, mute, or deafen anybody within the debate channel because they are the head speaker.
I do not care.
Alright.
Do you have any questions about objective morality or ethics or
I have
objective
a
right?
lot.
Ask. Go ahead.
Explain all of it.
Okay. Essentially, I believe that rights and morality are objective, and they're based on property rights, because property rights are inherent in the fact that you can't make an argument and not presuppose property rights, because the very nature of you making argument, there is there's some things that you already presuppose, and that is your arguments have to be universal, as in they can't be particular. They have to apply to everyone. It can't, like, for example, I can't say I get to hit you on the head, but you can't hit me on the head, because that wouldn't be universal. That would be a particular.
Why can't I say that?
Well, because you can't convince people of that, because it wouldn't be universal. It doesn't apply to everyone, so you can't
No,
argue
of course
that.
I can convince people of that.
Not necessarily. It's
Yes, you can.
again it by
Look
taking an
for it.
argument.
Okay.
I wasn't
Let's
done
just assume
either.
I can't. Who cares if I can convince people of that? Does it make it less
You would
right?
just be making you would just be making a normative contradiction within your argument. That's the point. Anyway, I'm not done. So another thing is you have to presuppose self-ownership, because if you didn't own yourself, by making an argument, you are automatically showing your preference for a peaceful resolution.
I
We live in a
cannot.
we live in a world of scarce resources, and that makes the possibility for conflict. Now, since there
Resources
is
are not scarce.
okay, well, there can only be okay. Yes, yes, they
No,
are.
they're not, because the
Right.
possibility of molecular fabricators is technically possible.
Okay, there cannot be one. There cannot be more than one thing at one place at one time. Therefore, like for example, there can't be more than one of you at one place at one time. All right, there cannot be
I'm
one.
pretty sure some quantum physicists would disagree on that
A
one.
lot would.
No, 'cause
Yes,
there can't
they
be.
would.
There can't be. No, it's literally impossible. It's
No, it
illogical.
is not.
So you're scarce. No, it's scarce. It
No,
is
it
a
is not.
fact. No.
Again,
You can't.
pretty sure some quantum physicists would disagree with that
Hey,
one.
guys, if you're stating that it's not possible, please provide a source stating from a physicist that it's not possible.
Okay.
Here's the thing. It's a fact that we live.
No, it
in
is not.
Okay. I
would
feel
like
like
to see
you're.
proof.
I feel like you're picking at everything I say just
No,
to
I
disagree.
literally want to see
just to
proof.
disagree. We live in a world of scarce resources. This is a fact. This is why economics exist. This is why science exists. This is why politics exist. If
Good
we
thing
didn't,
I
if we
don't
had
believe
a
in
world,
any of that.
I agree.
if we had a world, all right, where there wasn't scarcity, then we wouldn't need allocation of resources because we would be able to have everything at every time, and everyone would be able to pursue literally whatever they want, which is impossible
Post-scarcity
because we live in a
economics
world of scarce
possible.
resources.
Hey, Chad, do you mind explaining what you just said? Like, what exactly does that mean?
Molecular fabrication.
Yes.
So basically, on an atomic scale, you produce basically whatever you need by just using atoms themselves. It's just basically really complicated creation of other things.
You see,
But
here,
But it is
There's a
technically
law.
infinitely possible
here,
because of the way
energy
it's functions.
cannot be
I think
energy
it's-
cannot be created or destroyed.
Yes, it can.
Wait. Okay.
Oh my god, that is a scientific law. No, I'm not
No, it is
arguing
not.
with. He just denied a scientific law.
I do not
Excellent.
care.
Okay, I think I see the bridge here. Dr4U, are you stating like on a physical level or on a physical and metaphysical level, two people cannot be, there can't be more than two people?
No, I'm saying there
'Cause, like,
there cannot be
metaphysically, that
more
makes
than
sense.
okay. If I have an apple, there cannot be more than one apple at the same place at the same time.
Wait,
There-
you technically can.
No. Wait. So are you saying like, as in its location?
Physically, the physical world, the material world, the objective reality. This is
You can't have.
we live in a
You can't have two apples on one part of the desk because there's just enough room for one apple, right?
yeah, essentially.
I think what they're kind of getting more at is the idea that like two solid objects, like two apples, can't occupy the exact same space at the same time. Like you could have two apples next to each other, but you can never have those two apples sitting in the exact same spot because they're two solid objects that can't just pass through each other. I think that's kind of more what they're getting at with the whole you can't have two things in the same place at the same time is.
This implies scarcity.
No, I can. What if I liquefy the apple and put them both in a glass?
But you see, it's no.
I would like to
an
say one
apple,
thing.
Right? It's
no longer an
liquefied
apple.
so it's a different form.
Oh.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even then, it's in two different places. You've made two different glasses of apple juice. Also, for the sake of this argument, I think it would be better if we ignored superposition or really anything quantum mechanical, because
What I'm kind of seeing. Tell me if I'm wrong, Doctor. Is I'm kind of seeing your view of the world. When you look at rights and you look at morality, you believe it's inherently entangled with physics of the universe.
I believe it's inherently tangled with with scarcity, and since there's scarcity, there has to be property. Literally, okay. So here's an example. Everyone believes, every single one, communist, fascist, even thieves, all believe in ownership. All right. It's just unlike libertarians. They believe these people should own it or these people should control it. rather than the person, the individual in owning it in the Lockean sense of ownership. So they all believe in ownerships. They all believe in property, essentially.
So, okay, let me ask you this then. What is the foundation of property?
Okay, so property is a tangible object. All right,
No, but
that is.
what is underneath property? So I know what property is, but what is supporting property in like a metaphysical sense that everybody relies on to understand what's what should be theirs and what shouldn't be?
Oh, okay. Well, if I understand what you're saying correctly, it's an a priori knowledge, property. So property is implied by the very aspect of you making an argument. You are implying your self ownership. Therefore, you are implying property.
Okay, well,
You have to own yourself to make an argument.
I would argue property doesn't stand on itself. Rather, force is what supports property.
That's okay. Well, not
Okay,
really,
for
no.
argument's sake, you say I have to own myself to make an argument.
Mhm.
But how the fuck does that work?
No, I mean, it
Okay.
kind of... See, it works right now, but at the same time, it wouldn't work in other situations. So, let's say... okay, well, but before we get into that, because that's a different argument, let's stick on the one I was saying. I would say force supports property.
I would say, okay, so obviously, I can believe in rights all I want. I can believe in rights and say, this is mine, this is my property, all I want. But without ways to enforce it, it means nothing, right? So, but that gets into how do you enforce property rights? And since...
But you see, I'm not even talking about property rights. That's above, like, property right. I'm just getting into property. And what...
So, are you asking me, like, are you asking how do you own property?
Exactly. That's exactly...
Oh, okay. You should have said that. Sorry, I apologize for me not understanding that. But sure. So what I believe in owning property isn't control. It's not force. You own something by either being the original user or by being the transferee of property. So for example, all right, if we have a let's say a water bottle that's unowned by anyone, like hypothetically, it's not owned. It's an unowned water bottle, and I pick it up. I unscrew the cap. I drink the water. I'm the original user of that water bottle. That is now my property. Now, if I give that water bottle to someone else and say, "Hey, you want this? It's yours." That person, I now transferred by a verbal contract the ownership of this bottle to that person. Therefore, that person is now the owner of that bottle.
Okay, so let's say you have your water bottle and you open it and you drink a little bit of it, but then I shoot you in the head and take that water bottle. Is that water bottle still yours or is it mine now?
I would say it's still mine. But here, let me use a better example. For example, all right, if I steal your money, and I use all that money that I stole from you to buy a car, that's your car that I forced you to pay for. It's not, it's my car that I forced you to pay for. I said sorry. So, all right, I messed that up. I apologize. All right, so if I steal money from you, all right, I buy a car. That car is yours. I forced you to pay for.
Okay.
Okay. So it's because it's not property. It wasn't transferred. I wasn't the original owner, and I didn't get it through voluntary transaction. I just took it by force. So that doesn't mean I own it. That means I control it, but that doesn't mean I own it. For example, people like to argue that the United States is like, oh yeah, you just leave, or you are on there, so you agree to the laws because it's their property. But the United States doesn't own all of the land. Property owners own the land. The United States just controls the land.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Wait, okay, stop.
Okay, well, let me
The
ask
United
you
States.
this. So
Our land is under
you buy the
federal
car, right?
jurisdiction.
You buy the car, but I technically own that. But before I can, retrieve my car that you're currently using, someone shoots me in the head. What should happen to that car? Should it get buried with me?
No, not necessarily. Like, but, for example, all right. Why do we?
I
Why do we
believe
have?
I have an answer to that question. If it's technically doctors, or if it's technically your car and you die, then it would be like all the rest of your possessions when you die. It would go to your next of kin or whoever you specify in your will.
But what if?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to get to, right? When it comes to specifying where that goes to, I would say that only becomes that way because of the force of one, the title that I put out, the will. So that's one form of force. That's legal force, and that legal force is backed by legal governmental forces, aka the jury, judges, the legal system, and that legal system is supported by physical force, like the police and the military. So
No, these things I would argue they're natural. All right, these rights, these things, this ownership is natural. It's not done by force. It is a natural way of thinking because again, we're going off of the idea of property rights, which are natural rights, and so this is a natural way.
Come from?
It's okay. To make an argument, you obviously believe in property rights because you're making an argument.
No, I believe in force, and I believe killing people is natural.
You're
I'm a nihilist.
okay. The thing is, you are choosing to engage in a peaceful way of confrontation, a peaceful way of resolving a issue, right? Which is argumentation. And in such, you are respecting my self-ownership.
I mean, we're only engaging in this because we don't know where you live.
Okay.
What?
So you are...
Damn, Marvin on that Sigma grind set.
All right. So listen.
We have not killed you because we have not doxed you.
You're engaging. So by the very nature of you engaging in argument, you are showing your preference for peaceful resolution.
No, it's because I can't solve this violent one. That's the issue.
You can certainly try, but why are you arguing?
Well,
If you want to do it violently, then why are you arguing right now?
So,
why are you making
I'm only waiting for the perfect
ask
time.
you like this, right? So, what if I don't believe there will ever be a resolution via this debate? Honestly, and this would be me not being hypothetical, I believe no matter how much me and you talk, we're not going to change each other's minds.
Sure, you can think that, all right, but the argumentation, all right, is a conflict. There is a conflict here, right? There's a conflict of I believe in natural rights, you don't, the other people here don't, but I do. So there's a conflict, and this is a peaceful way of resolving this conflict.
Marvin, do you believe in rights?
Of course not. Like, they're made up by people, and anything made up by people is subjective. So
I sort of have
in the lib area that believes in rights, because I think there's a few.
John,
I have sort of a middle of the road position between Doctor's position and Marvin's. I believe the concept of rights is something that was thought up, but
rights were given to us by God.
But it was based off of something that naturally occurred, where you had prehistoric tribes who had their own territory, and then that eventually, as civilizations grew larger and more complex, that evolved into the concept of property. So the concept itself has natural evolutionary origins, but it eventually became a more complex concept as humanity itself became more complex.
well, John, you're on the right path there, but it's a little off, all right? Because I don't like the idea of using the idea of territory, because territory is what animals do.
What?
The reason why I don't...
We are animals, you idiot.
Calm down.
Yeah.
So, animals have a concept of territory. They have a concept of I control this, so it's mine. It's this primitive way of thinking. All right, what gives us rights and what separates us from animals is we have the conception of property. We have the a priori knowledge of property. All right, people have the know what property is from birth. It is even babies have a good conception of what is theirs. Now they might not have a good conception of what is others people.
They don't. They grab whatever they want.
Okay.
I mean, there have been studies that have proven that babies do have a sense of right and wrong, in the sense of if you show them a puppet show where a puppet wearing an orange shirt is mean to a puppet wearing a blue shirt, babies are more willing to play with the puppet with the blue shirt than the one in the orange shirt. So it has been proven that babies have a sense of right and wrong, in the sense of if the puppet in the orange shirt refuses to share toys or steals the blue shirted puppet's toys, they won't want to play with the orange shirted puppet. So it is proven that babies do have a sense of ownership and a sense of reciprocity, even from like as early as like 2 months of age.
I would say that that's when it like starts to kind of appear in that way of them developing that a priori morality. Well, not that kind of morality, but from birth, babies have a sense of what is theirs, though. Like that, in essentially,
Okay.
they.
So you would say that this is what separates humans from animals, right?
People from I'd say people instead of humans, because hypothetically, if there was a human, which there has been some cases, very very small amounts, but there has been some cases of humans that physically have not been able to conceive the aspect of the idea of property. Like they physically literally cannot conceive it, just like an animal. They essentially are they're not a person, a persona. They're on the same moral category as an animal.
Okay.
So that then proves the existence of
Do you
subhumans.
believe those humans, not those people? Do you believe those humans deserve people rights?
No, because they can't conceive property, so essentially they have the same rights as an animal, which is none. They're property. They can be treated as property.
Okay, so now
I know it sounds yikesy, but I'm just saying consistent.
So they are property, and I can sell them.
Hippity hoppity retards are property.
Yeah.
Wait.
So going back to
No,
See,
even better.
even severely mentally retarded people still like usually have a concept of property. These people, like I'm talking people that are
but
essentially
if they're property,
essentially
okay.
vegetable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
like women.
Okay, so let's
No, but please, I have a question. So if they're like animal, I can hunt and eat animal, right?
Okay, yeah, Hans Hermann Hoppe actually said to this.
So can I hunt and
for
eat
them-
retarded people?
Okay, look, Hans Hermann Hoppe talked about this. They are essentially animals of the peaceful kind to be domesticated and enjoyed as a free good, or of the dangerous and harmful kind to be fought as a pest.
Like women.
Now,
So yes.
So those ones you could hunt and eat. The ones that are pests you could hunt and eat. Bait.
Like women.
And then you
mean-
can
Social
farm and eat
Darwinism
the other
moment.
ones.
technically, yes. Look. Yeah, you can eat that. Like, the thing is, like, I don't have like a problem with like people eating cats or
But-
dogs.
I can
Asia
hunt
moment.
Asian.
I can hunt non-peaceful animals. So why could I not hunt
Oh,
and
you
eat
can.
non-peaceful
No, I'm saying-
retard?
I'm saying you can, like, you can. I know it sounds yikesy, but if they're unowned, by the way, this is assuming
Okay.
that they are. So basically, what I think would happen if someone is born.
I have another question. Can I
Okay,
have
well,
sex
hold on,
with
let me-
animal?
No, hold on.
You
Right,
ask a
if-
question. Let Dr4U answer completely.
Sorry.
I have a different question I would like to ask.
And come on, chat. Listen. All right. So if someone is born, with the hypothetical like not being able to conceive property, I believe the ownership is now transferred to the parents since they are physically incapable of being a self-owner. So they can't own their own body. They can't homestead their own body. Therefore, the parents who made them, ownership is now transferred to them.
Okay, so let me ask my question. With that standard being put down for people, would you classify chimpanzees who understand what is theirs and will rip anything apart that takes away what they believe is theirs?
I don't believe chimpanzees have a concept of property. I think they have a concept of territory. It's not.
If you
The
take
irony.
a banana and you take that banana away, they will kill you to take that banana back because they believe that is theirs. Is that not property?
Well, if you wander into a lion's den, those lions will kill you for invading their quote-unquote property, which is actually territory.
I didn't give the example of the chimpanzee killing you for being in their territory. I gave it to you in the form of banana.
A banana could be considered it's territory in a.
What is the difference between territory and property?
And
So-
banana.
Well, for something to be property, you have to, like, okay. So a territory is basically just something that an animal controls. Essentially, they control it. Property is something that someone owns. It's not controlled. It's owned. Like, I guess you could
What
say
is
that.
the difference between owning and controlling?
Can you not
Well, because-
control what you own?
You control what you own, but you do not own what you control.
And where does
If
this
you-
ownership derive from?
It derives from the Lockean sense of, and refined by Rothbard, but of the homesteading principle, which essentially to own something, you have to be the original user of an unknown thing, or you have to be the recipient through voluntary exchange.
Why didn't it give an exchange to the tree for the banana?
You. Sorry, repeat that?
I didn't exchange anything with the tree to receive the banana.
Well, no, but those are inanimate objects.
Okay.
I can
Why
make the
didn't,
argument that they are.
exchange
not.
anything with the chimpanzee for his banana.
Well, because first of all, if you assuming it's unowned, since they can't homestead. They can't homestead property. They can't homestead a banana.
Okay,
So there'd be
give me
nothing
example
wrong
of
with
what
taking a.
homestead is.
Sorry, you cut out. Did you say tell what?
Yes, tell the definition again of what a homestead is.
Okay. So homesteading is essentially the idea of how to own a unowned property. Now, the homesteading principle essentially states that if it's an object, and if it's a thing, if it's a tangible object, a scarce resource, if you put work into that, essentially,
Okay, so
then
monkey climbs up tree to get banana.
well, here you didn't let me finish. All right, you have to be in control of it. Then you have to be in control. You have to put work into it, and you have to have the intent to own.
Okay,
Which
so monkey controls tree territory. That's his territory. Monkey climbs up tree to get banana. Monkey's about to eat banana.
Monkey is based.
monkey does not have a. They don't have a sense of property. They can't intend to own things because they don't have the cognitive function of ownership.
They
in
do.
the way that humans do.
I still don't see the difference between what you call territory and what you call property. To me,
Well, because territory is just control. Like you could argue technically that the United States is territory of the U.S. government, but not the property of the U.S. government. So it is controlled and it is governed by the U.S. government, but is not owned because they did not homestead, they did not gain it through voluntary exchange. Therefore, they can't own it. All right.
So the Indians own my property right now.
No. Here's the thing. I actually argue about this a lot with people, but so essentially, the Native Americans, they were
They were
nomadic.
savages.
Were nomadic.
They skinned people alive.
Okay, well, if I could show you a tribe that wasn't nomadic, that stayed in one area, and
Yes, they would own.
that area-
They would own that. Yes, they would own that. Yes.
Okay, the northern tribes then.
What?
The northern tribes couldn't
Sure.
migrate everywhere. They had to settle down.
Sure, and I think they're the rightful owners of that property. There's nothing right. But it was taken now. So,
Okay.
they should be. Of course, they should be given their land back. But
Okay, so what happens to the people who are not owning what they think they own?
we're not owning what they think
So,
they
yes,
own.
all the people
Right.
that bought property from the government that took from the Indians, that made houses, that made shops, you know.
What? Well, okay. There's. I mean, if they can offer proof that they originally owned said land, then they should be granted it.
Okay.
And if we're talking about an anarcho-capitalist society, they would, but we're not talking about that.
No, I'm not talking about that, about the Indians. I'm talking about the people that's living and what they thought.
Well, they would.
you know.
They would. Well, they would kind of be forced to leave. I mean, because it's not theirs. Like, for example, if I find a piece of land, all right, and I say, it's I should set up camp here. So I set up my tent, fire and stuff, and you come along and you're like, hey, you can't be here. So I own this, and you offer proof that you own it. I would be like, oh, sorry, I didn't know, and then you get off.
Okay, so with that being said, those other tribes that were nomadic people, should we capture them and farm them now because they were like that in the past?
Sorry, say that again.
So those people that were nomads that were like that in the very past, their ancestors that were kicked off their lands, just like the ones that homestead. Because their ancestors were like that, should we now be allowed to capture them and farm them for food?
People?
Yes.
No.
But
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They weren't people. They were humans.
But no, I didn't. I'm not saying they had an inability to conceive property. They just were nomadic, so they didn't homestead the land. They just walked on it. If I walk on land that's unowned, that doesn't mean I'm homesteading it. I'm simply passing through it.
But those people couldn't do the homesteading idea you have. They didn't have that idea, so now they're no longer.
Oh, and no, they okay. It's because it's a natural thing. Like if they put work. All right, so the ones who started farms, the ones who settled down, the ones who put work into a land, or they like for certain they own the objects that they made, like the teepees and stuff. They own that because they put work into that, and obviously they had the intention to own, but they didn't. Were aware of because they had some concept of owning land. It was a lot like the Proudhonian sense, or if you're aware of that theory at all. Are you, Texas? Okay, well, they had some concept. They believed that property was quote-unquote theft in the sense that it was taking from society, but you have to have land to survive. So you should take care of that land, and it should be there. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know too much. I don't know too much about their specific.
But you see, your ideas and their ideas seem to be clashing at certain points. Would you agree to that?
In some way, but they still had the very basis of the belief of property, which they still believed if you put work into land, you still own the land. They still believe that because that's just natural. If I work a land that's unowned, obviously I own it. I mean that's
okay. So
no, you don't.
If I own a plot of land via a paper, that I bought, that I gained the money from working, but I don't actually use that land. I just let it sit there because I like nature. I like nature doing its thing. Do I lose my ownership of that property?
No, I don't. I believe in sticky property. You gained it through a voluntary transaction, so you.
What if I
Doctor,
capture land?
Yeah, go
I
ahead,
have a question.
Yeah.
Could you theoretically, like, since we established that animals don't have rights, have sex with animals?
Okay.
Would that be okay with you?
All right. I'm gonna answer this question. Right. You could make a moral argument.
You claim morality is subjective, and you're about to say that it's immoral.
Objective.
I know you're going to.
This kid, I said multiple times, it's found in nature and it's subjective.
No, it isn't.
No, I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying that's Dr4U's viewpoint.
Remember, previously he said it was subjective, so...
Literally, no, I didn't.
Yes, he did.
I think
No, he didn't.
said, like,
Please.
rights,
Yes, he did.
Right? Did you say rights?
No, please, he didn't.
Not in this specific debate. Doctor didn't, but if I remember right, it was, I think, like sometime last year. They were a bit more subjectivist. I think that's kind of more what Chad is alluding to. But like in this specific debate, no, he hasn't said a single thing about morality being subjective.
Okay. And views can change. That's allowed.
Okay, going back to a dog fucking question.
Oh yeah. Okay. So morally, you could make an argument against it, but you could morally make an argument against it, but legally, you can't make a.
Why would you need to?
Okay, because there's a difference between morality and legality, obviously.
Okay, how is fucking an animal objectively wrong?
Okay. I don't really want to get into this because I feel like I'm getting trapped into a corner.
You're not.
Well, the whole point of debate.
I genuinely want to know what the answer would be.
Hold on, Marvin. Let me explain debate night. I think you've been here before. The whole point of debate night is not to, we made you lose. How many debate nights have we had? No one's ever acted like that before. The point of debate night is to take a topic that the...
I'm not even joking. Okay, I'm not even joking. I have to go use the bathroom right now.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Enjoy your piss.
Oh, so what the fuck do we do?
We will chew out.
I can show you guys the AR attachments I got.
Marvin, Chad, don't blow it, motherfuckers.
I didn't blow anything.
Ah, okay.
Did I?
Yeah, don't blow.
You were like, fucking Marvin said, we're trying to find your location. You were like, oh yeah, because we can't kill you, we can't fault. You're alluding to it. Don't allude to it, man.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, we are going to hurt you, man.
Stop being a dirty CIA nigger.
Alright.
Hey,
go on the door. You can see I'm extra fast.
You need to edit this out when you put this.
I'm gonna undeafen Doctor now. Don't say anything to blow it.
Yeah, guys. So while we're waiting for Doctor to come back, you guys want to see the badass AR attachments I got today?
Yes.
I think he's coping.
Yeah.
Let's put that in voice chat.
It says I don't have permission to turn on my camera. Oof. Can somebody work some admin magic and magically give me perms, or is that not possible?
What would be extremely hilarious is if I got admin forms. It would just be a quick little tomfoolery.
I guess.
What?
Give me admin.
No.
I don't have permission to turn on my camera, so I can't. I sadly can't show you guys.
No, I am totally in the door. Help.
You're not even puberty level yet.
Yes, I know.
Like Filthy Frank would say, your balls haven't even dropped yet. Still 12 years old. Still riding your JD razors to school.
Do not question my ways, or it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful scooter.
Alright,
All I gotta say is the autocracy of Mongolia and the optimal autocracy of Hong Kong, and the
base.
theocracy of Colombia, and the Oklahoma League, and the Quebec Commonwealth, and the penitent autocracy of Yellowknife, and it's an Oklahoma League. It's the League of Oklahoma.
What is that?
It's the League of Oklahoma.
Someone could easily make a joke about that called the Oklahoma League.
Alright. I'm just speaking as someone who's lived in Oklahoma. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, but I guess you're just joking. It doesn't mean anything.
It does not mean anything. It's just randomly generated names in a game I'm playing.
Oh.
Bruh.
Because I'm trying to be annoying.
I was actually expecting something interesting, but no. I had my hopes too high for you, kid. Sorry.
I know.
Alright, like I said, I can't show my AR attachments because I don't have perms to open my camera. If it's possible to fix that,
Well,
like,
there's something happening right now where you might not want to.
What?
I don't get that either.
Recording right now?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, holding AR-15 into the. Yeah.
I mean,
you
I don't
touch
have
it
the
out.
actual. I don't have the actual gun. I just have a tack light and a rifle sling that I got. That's all I got. So like, all it would be is just me showing like a really cool flashlight, basically.
Alright, I mean, if you don't want to.
All I have to say is the Grouchy Assembly of
Actually,
Washington.
no. Man,
I'm sorry for the unprofessional performance, but it's like really fucking late.
The Oklahoma League is about the size of the whole South right now.
that's cool.
Oh god, Georgia declared independence. It's a theocracy. Oh my god, it's a Georgia theocracy. I never thought I would live to see that happen.
Yeah. Alright. Since I don't have camera perms, I did take a little video of my tack light, so I can just send that in. I'll send it in LARPing Preppers. Here's a video of how the tack light works. Why the fuck is it? Yeah. Bass. Playing Dixie.
I wish I was in Dixie. Hooray, hooray. I don't know the rest of TXT.
It'll start here soon. This is just the intro.
There is a Chinese version of that.
Yes, there is. It's beautiful.
There are also French and German versions.
Okay, I need to listen to the German one.
It's from a channel called Cars Channel, I think.
Ah,
Oh, man,
I think I
one.
remember that.
There it is.
Down south in Dixie, away, down south in Dixie.
Hi.
What the Chinese? The
Hi.
the Chinese version. Ching Chang Han.
Hey.
Ching
There
Dong.
he goes.
Alright.
We're going back. We're going back.
Okay, so to answer the dog fucking question, essentially, all right, so I should have probably stated this at the beginning of the debate, but I believe in quote unquote legal morality, as in like natural law. But obviously, I have a religion, so I believe in religious morality, which is objective as well. But I'm not getting into that because I'm trying to stay on an atheistic perspective for argument's sake, of course, to not get on tangents.
So,
Okay, well,
is it
so
is it
what-
wrong? And if yes, why?
So wait,
Is
wait,
it wrong? If it's wrong to me, to my yeah, okay, to morality, yes. To legality, no.
wait.
Why is it morally wrong?
Well, I told you I'm not getting into the religious morality. I'm purely purely talking.
So you can't give me an explanation why it's wrong.
Look, I've said this. I'm not talking. Okay, I'm not going to talk about my religious morals here, despite me knowing that, despite me thinking they are objective. I'm not going to argue
So
for them.
you can't give me an
okay.
explanation why it's wrong.
Okay,
They can. They just don't want to because it would. If it's a religious explanation, it would probably take like 5 fucking hours because theology
Could
gets
you just
complicated.
Yes,
say
but
what
do you
religion?
have a non-religious explanation for why it is wrong?
no, because in natural law. In natural law, no. There's nothing.
So it is, if you're an atheist, it's not wrong to fuck animals.
Yeah.
And since animals can't consent anyway, can do it against their will.
Well, I mean, actually, well, no. I mean, technically, if you're a utilitarian or some shit, you could argue that it's wrong or something.
Okay, so
Like John.
then we have
but-
previously established that retarded people are basically animals, which means I can have retarded sex slaves.
They would be vegetables, but I mean, fucking,
Yes,
supposedly.
maybe
Yeah.
someone is into that, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's
fucking
a good
it.
question. That's a good question, Dr4U. Okay, let's say I own a house, right? And then I get into a
Yeah.
car wreck and I turn into a vegetable. Now I can't perceive property. What happens?
Are you okay? So, are you like not cognitive? You are basically brain dead.
I am basically brain dead.
Okay, so
Heart still pumping,
It's-
brain barely interacting.
okay, so essentially, all right. This is hard to explain because it gets into consciousness and stuff. But since your consciousness is still there, and it's still homesteaded your body prior, you would still own it. Technically.
Wait. So now you're saying because our brains do stuff in our bodies, it's considered homesteading?
No, it's consciousness. Your consciousness, previously, before you got into the car accident, you've homesteaded your body.
I have to
because-
say one thing. Excuse me, but the Garfield conspiracy has begun.
What?
Hey, Dr4U,
That's
I
all.
mean, if you want actual interaction, I would just meet the kid and leave it there.
I'll shut up for now.
Well, he said he's gonna shut up. So, but if he does something again, I'm gonna. Anyway, so essentially, you homesteaded your body before. Your consciousness homesteaded your body. Because I believe as Ayn Rand put, there's consciousness and then there's objective reality, and our consciousness is tied to our body, so that consciousness can be the owner of ourselves.
Okay,
Because
so I still have the ability to make decisions?
no, that doesn't mean anything. You still own it. Like for example, I mean, if you like put in your will that I like
I don't
put in
have
your
any
will that
I'm a 20-year-old, you know. I didn't think this far ahead.
you still technically own your body, you just can't make decisions. This
Okay,
oh
so
it's weird. So essentially a hospital could just like unplug because they don't have to take care of you if you can't pay.
Okay,
So-
with that being said, would it be immoral, you know, based off of property rights and all this, would it be immoral for my mother to steal, quote unquote, steal my car and sell it to keep me alive? Would that be immoral? To pay for my medical bills with my car that she stole?
Yeah, technically yes. I would say so, because you're stealing property that you owned. For example, it doesn't matter if I hold a gun to your head and then I take all your money, and then I use that money to somehow in some way make your life better. I still stole your money. All right, and that gets a lot into taxes and why that's theft and such. But
I was literally just about to say that's
Yeah.
literally taxation in a nutshell.
yeah, so
Just
it's
put a gun to your head. Give me all your money. We're using it to pay for your roads.
but I didn't consent.
Too bad we're building this fucking highway, motherfucker. Give me all your run your pockets.
Run your pockets, nigga. The government essentially says, "Run your pockets, nigga." Yeah.
All you
Yes.
motherfuckers, run your pockets. We
We
need to
will
build
have
this road.
interactive conversation.
Anyway, back on track. Yeah.
All right. I mean, honestly, you don't seem that little. That seems a little fucked to me, honestly.
Well, of course, I mean, it seems yikesy, sure. But I'm just,
that word, by the way.
uh,
Pull my finger.
I
I
s-
still wouldn't say that.
I stole, I stole Vosh, I stole it from Vosh, but
I knew that's who you got that from.
That's the
I
last
know
person
it's
I
not
was stealing
yikesy.
anything
It happens
from.
anyway.
Well, I would still wash his property.
Hey,
also, let's, okay, here's the thing, though. Alright, I'm gonna make something that does sound kind of fucked. All right, but you gotta let me run through the whole hypothetical. All right, I might be putting myself in a worse position by doing this, but I don't care. All right, so there is a way for you to legally and morally kill a communist. All right, so essentially, your body cells are fully replaced after 8 years, I believe, right? So essentially, since they're a communist and they don't believe in self-ownership and they don't believe in the concept of homesteading themselves and they don't homestead themselves, and they're actively rejecting that, technically they're revoking their self-ownership. So if they've been a communist for more than 8 years, you can hypothetically, under the Gaza property rights, kill them.
Okay,
So essentially, I
Bad,
just
bad,
showed
bad.
the way how you can kill a communist.
based.
So okay, so let's.
I'm sorry I missed that. My Discord crashed, but I'm back. What did I miss?
I want to explore that a little bit. Okay, so
All right.
would a communist be someone who supports property or someone who doesn't own property?
Someone who doesn't support property.
Okay, so like a communist who's been around in America for 8 years, he owns his car, he owns his clothes, he owns all this stuff, but because he doesn't believe in property, he doesn't own anything.
Look, I don't know like specifically what communists believe, but essentially there is an argument to. I'm not saying it's like entirely correct. All right, it's not like something that a philosopher has ever stated. It's kind of thing that me and other libertarians kind of came up with.
I have talked to actual communists and ancoms in the past about this, and they have elaborated that they do believe in the concept of personal property. So, like, if I have a plot of land and I build a house on it, I don't own the land because that would be private property, but the house is my personal property because I built it. That's mine. Or the same thing with like
I
my
understand
clothes.
that. I know
My
that.
clothes are my personal property because they're mine. Like I paid for them. So it's
I know
personal
that.
property exists, but
I know
private
that.
property does
I know
not.
that. But the thing is, like, communists don't believe in self-ownership. I know that for sure because they're materialist. So they believe they see people as things with needs that need to be met, not
Okay,
as
so something that is materialist to you is something that can't understand property. Is that how that works?
I think they're actively rejecting the idea of property.
No, I'm not about communists. Going back to your people and human thing. So,
Uh.
like, human, not people. They are in your head are like materialists. They're material, while people are, they're more than material. They're metaphysical.
I suppose.
Because when you talk to communists, I'm glad you brought that up. It kind of sounds like their idea of property is what you call homesteading, and their idea of personal property is territory.
Yeah, I understand that to an extent. Leftists, what I call homesteading, like they believe in they don't believe in sticky property. They essentially believe in homestead because everyone believes in homesteading all across the spectrum, in some way or another. That because it's just a natural thing. But
I don't believe in homestead, young.
You believe.
If I say something is mine, it's mine, no matter how hard you worked on it.
All right, so you believe in the allocation of ownership, obviously, right? You believe it's based on if you say it's yours, it's yours.
Whatever I say, it is
You
at the moment.
You have the mentality of a thief. It's so you have a theory. It's a crummy theory, but you have one essentially. So you believe in ownership, and so so just claiming that you own something is enough to own it.
Yes, of course, and I'm the only person who can do that.
No, well, that's not universal.
Well, I
That's
say I am the only person who can do that.
Okay, here's the problem here. Which I want to bridge this gap right now. So Marvin already stated, he doesn't believe in objective morality. So when he says this, he's going based off of that idea. So it doesn't have to be universal to him because there's nothing that's universal.
Well, in argumentation.
Can you stop with the paper or whatever you're doing? It's like.
Sorry. Okay. So, essentially, like within argumentation ethics, it basically states that you cannot deny the existence of property. Otherwise, you would be caught in a normative contradiction. Because you would have to assume self-ownership to argue in the first place. There's certain norms that are applied within by engaging an argument. And to make an argument, this argument has to be universally applicable. It can't be particularist.
So here's my thing. My personal problem with this whole world theory. My problem is you look throughout history, and there's been long spurts of time of different civilizations, what you would call homesteading an area and producing stuff. And another civilization comes in and takes that from them, and then they start homesteading. And, it essentially...
Well, it's not homesteading, because...
I gotta go to the bathroom, I'll be right back.
They didn't own it, essentially. You can't homestead property that you don't is owned already. You can't homestead property that you.
Okay, so essentially, and this is exactly my problem with it. My problem is based on your ideas. Like 99% of the nations that are here right now should not exist, and all the people that live there should not be there because most of their land, most of their property were taken from people way in the past that were, homesteading their area. And there's a couple of people that, homesteaded certain areas that no longer exist. So if we went, the logical conclusion to your idea, that land should be owned by nobody because essentially, this long extinct group of people homestead on it.
I was just about to say
if it's owned by nobody, if you get rid of the ownership, then someone has to homestead it then afterwards.
But they never gave permission for someone to do that after their death. And you already said, death is not like ownership.
Shit, I believe fucking Murray Rothbard talked about this. Hold on, let me see if I can find something. I haven't really explored the whole death thing too much.
This,
Let me
this is
see.
this is why debate night is here. Is to get go with people's ideas and give them different directions they never would have seen by themselves.
Yeah, sure. I understand that. Again, you can't expect me to like know literally everything
Oh,
about all my
we
antics and
don't.
everything.
We don't expect you to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I can't find anything right here on the Mises Institute, I'll concede. But
I'm back.
hold on. I know in America, specifically. I know that way of thinking because we already went through the whole natives and we already know that. So applying that principle to America, a lot of America is perfectly owned.
Yeah, but
Perfectly
you see,
studied.
when I'm talking about it, I'm talking more like the Asian region where.
Yeah, I know. I would have to like literally look through all of history and create a specific plan, which
But that is a universal, a objective morality, right? That's what you have to do to achieve that position.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm not part of those regions, so practically though, you would leave it to the people in those regions to do that research and figure it out. But again, you probably already know I'm not a practicalist. I'm an idealist. So my ideals are kind of like practicality is not as important as my ideals. So essentially, what am I trying to say here? I don't know what to even say. That's it.
Take your time to think about it.
Okay, so essentially what I'm saying is I believe that ideals are more important than pragmatics, and so what is considered practical, if it's not ideal, if it's not moral, I would consider that to be wrong.
So you would say morality is derived from ideals?
What do you mean by that?
So you said, what's moral, what's morale?
Morale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would be based off of ideals, like ideas.
No, I'm talking specifically in ideal. If a situation is not ideal, all right, if it's not ideal, if it's not based on objective morality and natural law, it doesn't matter if the situation is better than the last situation. There's still things that need to be fixed.
Okay, so if a solution can build a moral framework, no matter what the solution is, you would take that over it if someone did make a solution without, engineering morality into it.
Elaborate on that. I'm sorry for not understanding,
No,
but
it's fine. So, let's say I say we should send let Aztec civilization, right? I say we should send more people to farm the fields and wait and see what the rain will give us, while a Aztec person, this Aztec civilization, would say no, that's not moral. Based on our moral views, we should sacrifice a slave or a prisoner.
they would be in violation of natural morality. So that would be wrong. It doesn't matter what they think is moral. Moral is outside of what people think. It's
But you see, you said ideals, right? So that's
well, I'm not. When I say ideals, I mean a ideal situation. Don't take anything outside of that. Okay.
okay. So
Ideal situation.
Okay, so you're saying like we should go with the idea in which everything is perfect rather than looking at reality and basing a solution off of that.
No, it's more a society. Okay, so if you don't have a society completely based on consensus where no legal coercion can be enacted against any individual, then that society still needs to be fixed. All right, you should strive for a society that is based completely on consensus, where no legal coercion can be enacted against any individual, because this society is the morally correct thing. It's based on natural law. So so it doesn't matter if another one is created within that society. You should still strive to create this other one. It doesn't matter if it's
So,
better situation.
you would prefer like society to be, no matter how small or large it just the people within this quote unquote society all have to agree with each other, so that way there's no need for physical force to make everybody work together.
By completely based on consensus, I mean like through voluntary transaction. As in, for example, if I go to my boss, if I go to a person that's hiring, and I say, "Hey, I want a job," they lay out the things. We have a little interview. They say you're hired. I sign a contract or shake his hand or whatever, and then it's like, okay,
So
you're
society,
you're
you believe society should be built off of contracts?
yeah, I'm a contractitarian. Yeah.
Okay, so when does somebody have the ability to sign a contract?
Oh, what do you mean?
Like, when does a person from birth is able to sign onto a contract?
What? Okay, so contracts, all right, are important in a way but there's things like verbal contracts as well. So I would consider, like, obviously
So is
a
lying
child.
stealing?
Okay, huh? Is lying stealing?
If verbal contracts is, a thing.
If you break a verbal contract, then I mean, essentially you did something morally wrong. Yes,
But would that be
because you
stealing?
violated. What are you stealing?
So you're stealing the contract. You're
No,
ripping.
no. You're violating a contract, which is wrong. But that wouldn't be stealing. It is different.
What would that be?
Being base.
I don't know what to call it.
Being base.
Sorry, I don't know the word, but
Where
I'm
would
trying
you
to.
put that when it comes to like social ills? What would that be? Breaking a contract.
You can, if you break a contract, like if you break a contract with your boss, they have the ability to fire you.
Okay, so if you lie to someone, what's the
If
consequence?
you lie to someone, the consequence is. It depends. It really depends on the situation. I can't just tell
Give
you,
an
like.
example?
Okay. I suppose if I let me think about one real quick then. If I make a verbal contract with you that I will, yeah, I'll build your house for you. And if you give me this money, you're like, okay. And so I take the money and I go away. If you prove your money was, that would be stealing, obviously. But if I say hey yo, you can be my roommate, but you have to take out the trash, and then you say yeah, and you don't take out the trash, I have the right to say, hey, you have to leave. Can't be my roommate anymore.
Okay.
If you understand where I'm coming from this.
So, that, again, ideal right there. Now let's put a little bit of reality into that. So let's say I tell everybody, okay, let's say I spend $5,000 on like hardcore drugs and I just use it all. And I was like, you know what? That was a bad idea. I want that money back. And I know, we talked in an alleyway, and I could prove we were in this alleyway on Tuesday. And I told everybody, hey, motherfucker took $5,000 to build me a little house. Didn't build me the house. What the fuck? I want my money back.
Okay, so if they can, so basically you have a court system that happens. This gets a little into
Okay, so
politics.
court systems. How does that
This
work?
gets into politics and not philosophy. I would kind of want to move past this, like, because this isn't based on philosophy. This is based
so
on
going back to the philosophical question, when does the ability to make contracts start?
Okay. Well, that's actually continuum, and this has to do with this. Obviously, gets into the idea of the age of consent. Naturally, obviously, I don't believe children can consent, but you know, it's a continuum in the sense that some 16-year-olds can consent, some can't. Some 20-year-olds can consent, some can't.
I have a question. Can you consent?
No, I wouldn't. I'm 14, so I wouldn't say that I have the ability to consent to.
So if you know you can't consent, why do you think you are able to debate on?
Well, because
Morality.
there's a difference between being a self owner. There's some things, obviously, you as a child can
Are
consent
you
to.
an animal right now, or are you a human?
No, I'm a person.
Okay, yeah, sorry, person. Okay, so you are a person, but you can't
Mhm,
consent.
because I'm a self owner. A child can own something. But obviously, there's some things a child can't consent, and this gets into a little bit much that I have to read more Walter Block on and stuff because he has things on this. But essentially, I can't. There's some things that obviously, all right. I can buy a video game from GameStop by participating voluntary transaction with the store clerk. I'm like, hey, can I buy this? He goes, yeah. Give him money, get my game, go. I can do that. I can buy a. I can. Yes.
But
Say
is
again.
that a contract?
Okay. So, at what? Okay. So, yes. All right. Essentially, I don't have a problem with child labor. What age? That okay? I would say that's a continuum as well. There's a lot of continuums that have to do with contracts. I'm sorry, but it's just it's just a thing.
Oh, what's a continuum? I'm sorry.
So it's where both extremes are obvious, but the middle gets blurred. So for example, with age of consent, obviously, I know a 6-year-old can't consent. I know that a 20-year-old can. Where's the in between? I don't know. That's basically the idea of a continuum, if you can understand that.
Okay, can a parent put a child on a contract?
Can a parent make decisions for a child?
Yeah, act as like a signatory to a quote-unquote contract.
Sure, under some circumstances, I would say so, yeah.
So child labor would be one?
For example, obviously, you can't... If for example, a 12-year-old or 11-year-old working on the farm, nothing wrong with that. I mean, obviously, that's happened for, hundreds of years, and we only recently got rid of that. There's nothing wrong with that. A child working to get money, usually getting into, if you want a pragmatic argument, they are essentially, like, a lot of the time, they are bringing their family out of poverty. I'm gonna have to go in a second, actually. I'm sorry, but they're bringing their family out of poverty and such, so that is, like, it's practical to let them, but I have to go.
One more question.
Hmm.
When do you think a child should be able to be online?
I mean, that's up to the parent, honestly.
So they can sign the contract on the child, whether they want to be online until they hit 21. Like, they could just ban them and he would have no problem with it. Damn.
The fuck?
Alright. I'm ending the video.
I guess we're done, but like I just want to answer your question anyway because I don't want to leave you like that. So basically, child, it's up to the parents. Oh my god. Okay. I have to leave.